full or descriptive details later if you have momentum going. Remind yourself constantly that the first draft has one purpose: getting your story onto the page. Revisions and edits will polish a basic story into something more captivating. The first draft is just that. It's your first draft that it's what you're processing from your mind and you're putting on paper. It's like the write it down, make it happen. You have to take it from here and put it onto paper, and that's what your first draft should be. One of the first things that people will see when you are publishing your work is your title. So what makes a great book title? Some elements of a good title are things that arouses curiosity. It's memorable. It relates to and suits the content of your story. You can't have a title that does not coincide with your story. It doesn't sound derivative or of another author's work. When writing a book, when I am in my zone and I am writing, I don't read other authors' work. And a lot of people a lot of people have their opinions on how they do their process. But my thing is, when my creative flow is flowing, I want it to only be my creative flow. I don't want it to feel like I am piggybacking off of something that I have read, because I want my story to stand out. I don't want it to be the same. I don't want it to feel like it's the same of another author's work, because that's the tricky idea of writing urban novels or any type of novel, because there are many genres and a lot of work does sound the same. But that is why I write from experience and add my own twist of fiction. So you need to make sure that your work does not sound like another author's work. Now, how you decide to go about doing that will be totally up to you. But like I said, my way of doing that is I don't read anybody else's work when I'm in my creative process, because I don't want to feel myself like this is coming from someone else. I want to know and feel that this is me. This is coming from me. Oh, I thought of this. Girl, you cold, like you're dope, and that's how I like to feel. So that'll be totally up to you on how you decide to move in that situation. But think of some of the most unusual and effective book titles in publishing. Once your book has been polished into a compelling manuscript with a dope title, it's time to embark on the publishing process. You need to prepare your manuscript according to the publisher's submission guidelines. So when you are, now there are a lot of, everyone knows there are a lot of non-legit deals on Google. So you need to make sure that when you are researching, you make sure that you dig deep enough to figure out who's hot. You don't want to just, you find the first publishing company on Google that's accepting submissions. You need to make sure that their reviews, how many books that they actually sell, what is their process, what is their social media following, what are their Goodreads reviews, Amazon reviews. You dig deep into that publishing company, because you want someone that is going to take you, because this is your baby. You have nurtured your baby here, and you finally delivered it onto paper. So you need to make sure that your work that you took the time to put in is going to be in the hands of someone that actually can do something with it. There are several major publishing houses that many new authors aspire to join. The four biggest publishing houses are Simon & Schuster, HarperCollins, Penguin Random House, and Hachette Livre. When approaching any of the major publishing houses, be very aware that publishers discard masses of unsolicited queries daily. Most won't even take the time to check out your manuscript. Instead, instruct aspiring writers to go through literary agents. Example, Simon & Schuster, in fact, does not review unsolicited manuscripts and recommends finding an agent via literary marketplace. Penguin Random House recommends the same service as well. HarperCollins also does not accept unsolicited manuscript, but runs through 3 digital imprints, which accepts submissions in romance, mystery, thriller, and transformational fiction, respectfully. Smaller publishing houses often list their submission guidelines on their websites. Given the hurdles of landing a book publishing contract via a major publishing house as a first-time author often is wise to choose a small publishing or just self-publish. These can be paths toward a publishing deal in their own rights, because if your book achieves significant sales and critical attention, you can leverage this to query publishers who are always looking for commercial viable proposals. The greater your name recognition and the greater your willingness to be proactive about marketing your writing, the more attractive publishers will find you. So don't go out right off looking for major publishing companies. Start small. Or, if you desire to have all of your coins and not just a percentage, then you self-publish small. Or with self-publishing, the difference with the self-publishing is you do receive all of your coins, but you're also putting out money by yourself. You don't have anyone backing you on paying for your book cover, your editing. You're literally doing all of that yourself. Now, I edit myself. I like to save money. I want to be able to get all of my money from my sales, my own recognition, but I also learned how to save money as well. So that is kind of how I become handy and crafty in the things that I do. So I do my own editing. I create my own book covers. I created my own website for my books. I market and promote my own books. The only thing is, I'm also putting out the money as well. I don't have any publishing company that is doing these things for me, but that is the risk that you take when you are wanting to keep all of your coins from your sales. One of the first things you should master when learning how to write a book and get published is your query letter. Query letter should contain 5 elements: personalization, where you customize the letter for the recipient, what you're selling, genre, category, word count, title, subtitle. The hook, which is the meat of the query. It should be 100 to 200 words, sufficient enough for a novel. Bio, sometimes optional for uncredited fiction writers. A thank you and a closing. Um, and to maximize your chances of getting published, create a spreadsheet of publishing houses that accept unsolicited manuscripts in your genre, as well as details on submission requirements. Include the contact details for each so that at a later stage you can walk through your list while submitting without having to hunt for contact details. This is really good because you are already writing your own story. Like, the hassle of hunting and researching is enough. So please make sure that you are taking the time to use these steps to have everything in order, so you won't go stir crazy trying to figure out how to get things done. Um, if your book isn't accepted for publication on your first try, don't give up. Do not give up. You have to fail in order to succeed. And I, Chelsea, have failed plenty of times before even reaching an ounce of success. And I'm still failing. Even though I'm succeeding in all these areas, I am still failing while I am trying to climb the ladder to get higher and higher. You're in the company of 99.99% of aspiring authors. Keep submitting your manuscript if it is polished and you have a great story idea. If there's a pattern in your rejection letters explaining why your book isn't suitable, make a note of it. you have to be okay with um, constructive criticism. If you are not okay with constructive criticism, writing a book and publishing is not the lane for you, period. It's just not your lane. You have to make sure that you are okay with someone telling you, hey, this, I'm not feeling this, because I have books on Amazon now that have certain reviews that, when I first saw them and earlier on in my career, it flushed me. It put me down. But I had to learn to accept the constructive criticism, that because everything that I'm going to do, the way I'm going to put it out, especially my own work that I do, a lot of things I won't see myself. So it's always good to have like a star reader, so a friend or a family member that can help you go over your work, to help you find things that you may have missed. It could be that it's just a few small tweaks about your book. It could be just grammar, spelling. It could be small things. Just consider accepting the constructive criticism and move forward. You could also consider self-publishing, like if you don't want to do your editing yourself, if you're not comfortable with doing your editing yourself. There are editors out there that will do this for you at a price, of course. Although this won't give you the credit of having a major publishing house backing you, it's a viable way to grow your dedicated audience. For me, myself, I love my own credit. I love to know that I did this myself, and I'm so dope because I did it and I learned and figured out how to do it. Even though the obstacles that came, I jumped those hurdles and I still found a way to make it through. So I'm not big on the credit of someone else backing me. I want to build my own audience. So I know the people that in my audience that know I am dope just as much as I know that I am. It's because it's coming from me myself and not from a actual publishing house. Now, I don't discredit publishing houses. I started out that way. This is just an overview of publishing yourself or with a publishing company. Writing is not easy at all. And writing a great story is even harder, even if it is your own story. We can have all the stories up here, but putting it on that paper, it seems like, or typing it seems like it becomes a tad bit more difficult. But that's no reason to give up. Your story is just that. It's your story and it deserves to be told. And people deserve to hear your story and your life experiences, because you never know how many people are going through or went through the exact same thing that you went through. And because you overcame it, some people still